welcome to episode 14 of Read, Watch, Play, the show where we read comic books, talk about what we watched, and of course, board games that we played and loved. I'm your host, Clifford Parmenter, and my co-host,
Tony Cox.
And we are heterosexually platonic. So, Tony, in case anybody gets any ideas.
Thanks for outing me. We're a little red today. I think the camera color's off.
I know. We just look bright.
So how was your week?
You know what? I mean, you were with me Sunday, so I think
I know.
We've been having a good week.
We've been having a great week. If you saw us on Sunday, we were at the Ultimate Comic Trade Show and Expo in Poughkeepsie, New York, presented by iHeartMedia. And we had a great time. We had wonderful guests. If you haven't checked out that episode, it's on Twitch right now.
And Facebook.
And Facebook. The whole thing, we were there for 3 hours. We streamed for 3 hours. We were there for 6 hours.
You may want to click around just to skip to the part where we actually do stuff.
And all of the interviews will be segmented and posted up on YouTube later this week or early next week.
As they should be, because they are magical.
They are amazing. We had such a great time. And I didn't bring it with me. I got my press badge for New York Comic Con today.
Yes.
So we will definitely be there. We'll be producing some content for you guys and posting it up on our site. So what else happened this week?
Well, wait, let's talk about the Ultimate Comic Con and Trade Expo.
Oh, that's right, because you got a very special gift.
I got a very special gift from Scott Liddell, and he did sign it to me, and I'm very happy. Oh, look how it fades into the background. That's so cute. And
it's signed. I don't know if you can
signed.
see that. It is signed right there.
Yep.
To Cliff from Scott Liddell.
And he said, "Do you want me to make it out to Cliff?" And I said, "Absolutely. I'm a real fan. Like, this is going to be with me, you know, to the end." And it was great. And he introduced me to his mom.
Aww.
And because, you know, he shared with us on the show about his niece wanting to come out, you know, and obviously she has, and it was really cool. And his mom was super sweet, and his sister was there, and it was great. But other cool things that happened, I mean, that was amazing, because I think like what happened with me and Scott was just amazing. But we got cool stuff from our new friend, Diana Leto.
Oh, that's right. You got a piece of artwork, right?
I got a piece of artwork, a Doctor Strange movie piece that she drew.
Oh,
beautiful.
right. Yep.
Where he's actually coming out of a door that references Sherlock Holmes. Very funny.
221B.
Thank you. And then
I got the collection of Tarzan stories that she was the art director on, and that she illustrated one of the stories. And so I'm looking forward to reading
by the
that.
way.
Yes, very well. What's great is that each story sort of has its own style, and I'm very much looking forward to reading that. So, and we're going to see her again at New York Comic Con, so we'll definitely stop by and say hi to her.
Very exciting. And last but not least, I had to track Kevin Sussman down after we were done, because he was dragged away from us for a panel, understandably. So I had to ask him the questions I didn't get to ask him while we were together. I asked him, what is, regardless of whether he's in it or not, what is his favorite episode of The Big Bang Theory?
And what did he say?
It's the episode where the guys are all holding onto the ring from Lord of the Rings, because they're trying to decide who should get it. And so I said to him, so that must be really intense, you know, for actors, because you're spending the entire episode, everyone's holding onto the ring. There's cameras that have to do different shots. And I'm like, and I'm sure there's tape marking for everywhere you have to go. And he goes, you better believe it. He goes, that must have been awful. He goes, every episode is a tightly choreographed dance. He's like, so what they did that episode was just incredible. So I thought that was really impressive from like his own, like, you know, background in the craft of like, this is just an intense acting exercise. And my other question for him was, darn, that was like really my best one, but I had one other one for him. But and in the meantime, another fan came over who was really interested in acting. He dispensed amazing advice.
Yeah, I overheard a little bit of that.
Which was super cool. And you know, we took a picture. We had a good time. So yeah, I guess I got to talk about the one question that was like weighing on my mind. That was fun.
Yeah. Unfortunately, we didn't get to talk to Kevin as much as we wanted to, but
He was wonderful.
But
We
he was
learned
wonderful
we learned all about his love of board games.
Yeah.
Oh, he is on 2 episodes of Tabletop with Will Wheaton.
Oh, he is.
But they're
I wanted
not.
to ask him
But
about
they're
that.
not playing a board game. They're playing a role-playing game.
Oh, really?
So we have to,
Wow.
as fans, we have to harass Will to get him back to play a board game.
Yeah.
That, or we need to book him like somehow, like wave a wand.
Well, I told him the next time he's in the area, we should play Agricola together because that's one of his favorite board games. I
that was
really
great,
enjoy
yeah.
that game, and not a lot of other board gamers that I've talked to particularly enjoy that game, but I really like it. So anything else happened this weekend, or should we jump right into comics?
Oh my god! I mean, it's been a big week. It really has been. There's like so many things. Len Wein passed away.
Yes.
That's devastating. Co-creator, one of 3 creators behind Wolverine. Co-creator for characters from the Legion of Superheroes to the X-Men. Wrote for Marvel. Wrote for DC. Oh my god! He helped create Nightcrawler. There's so many characters that he's had an influence on. I can't even I'm not even sure. I don't even know if I can cover it all.
And he co-created Wolverine, correct?
One of the 3 creators behind Wolverine.
Yeah. And now that leaves
Only of the 3 creators, the only one alive is John Romita Sr.
Yeah.
So that is something else. And you know what's sad is so I've met 2 of the 3 creators of Wolverine. I never got to meet Len, but I've heard amazing stories, and I've been reading amazing stories about him all week. And Paul Levitz has been writing a different story about him every single day this week, and every one of them is awesome. My favorite one is they get into this huge editorial argument about a comic book, and Len is telling Paul, no, we have to do this. We are doing this. This is supposed to be art and a medium and whatever, and we're just going to do it, Paul's like, no way, no how. I don't want to draw controversy or attention like that, blah, 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 blah. And it's all heated, and he goes, all right, fine. He's like, so where are we going for lunch today? And, this guy sitting off to the side in the offices at DC is like, what the hell is that? And he goes, and Len turns to him. He goes, hey, Paul is my friend. And when we're arguing, that's the work arguing. He goes, and now we're going to lunch. And so for me, that's the best story I've read.
Yeah.
I feel like it sums up a person's character beautifully.
Yeah. Definitely a big loss to the comic book community. And yeah, so we'll just take a moment of silence for Len and just appreciate his work. All right, so let's jump in to what we read, or I should say what Cliff read. I unfortunately did not have a lot of books that came out this week. Actually, I don't think any books I read came out this week. So
This is a massive week, by the way. Massive.
This is a pretty one. So let's go ahead and start with Dark Knight Metal.
Number 2. Look, it's all flashy metallic.
Yeah.
So
There were a lot of shiny comic books this week.
there are. I think I'm actually. It's actually an unhappy week in comics for me.
Aw.
Okay, so Dark Knight Metal. I'm just gonna cut the garbage, right? There's a bunch of fake Batman running around. If I interpreted the story correctly, they're all Clayface. Because they've been using
All these fake Batman or Clayface.
Are Clayface, right? And the Justice League is trying to track Batman down, and Superman using his super hearing is trying to track down the right heartbeat, until ultimately he grabs the one he thinks is Bruce, and it's just Clayface, right? And he's like, listen, I just did what I was told to do. I just played the role because this is that version of Bruce. So anyhow, Superman just wants to quit playing games and punches him through the chest. And it's just Clayface. But he can hear Bruce, and he can hear that Bruce is genuinely upset, right? And he's like, I've never, Bruce's heartbeat, I've never heard him afraid. So him and Wonder Woman track Bruce down to exactly where he should not be, right? Because the Journal of Carter Hall has been telling us all along, don't pursue this. Do not. So they track Bruce down to another remote location where Dream, aka the Sandman, has been speaking to him, and he refers to him as Dream. And he tries to ask him. He's like, "Am I doing the right thing?" And then, Dream fades away, so Batman doesn't get his answer. So he retells us how he's all the events leading up to now that have exposed him to various metals. Right? Getting killed by the Joker, getting revived from being killed by the Joker, touching the nth metal, being in contact with the nth metal to pursue this. And then that metal he doesn't understand that he used to see the dark world, right? The dark multiverse. So anyhow, there's only one metal missing to complete it. And of course, he stole Baby Darkseid from Grail. Because he's like, well, Darkseid used the Omega effect to send me back in time once before, so those events are still canon. And he's like, so I'm hoping he'll send me back in time again so I can stop all this from happening, right? But the Court of Owls are there because they worship Barbatos, or whatever, right? And they want to complete it. So what is the final metal to complete the process? Batmanium. Or Batmanium, or however you want to pronounce it. There are people who crapped on me and my love of Wonder Woman because it's like, our bracelets are made of Amazonium. Yeah, well, this Batman-centric story that we're saying, the key metal to wrap this all up, Batmanium. I don't want to hear it. So,
it does. It says Batmanium right here.
That ripped me out of the story.
Can I just say that's very similar to in Avatar?
Yes, exactly.
Unobtainium. I'm like
whatever. I'm so disappointed this week. So anyhow, then the evil multiverse Batman emerged. They're all horrifying, pirate Bruce Wayne Batwoman, whatever the heck that is, Like, I'm the Joker Batman, and look at all my undead Robins.
Yeah, that's very much of what's her name from Walking Dead.
It's
I forget her name, but
oh my god, how can I forget her name?
She has the two.
She has her brother and her.
Oh my gosh, is that
Rex.
a Doomsday Batman?
That's a Doomsday Batman. Yeah, that's steampunk Batwoman Bruce. I don't even get it. An evil Spectre Bruce,
Oh, this one?
Yeah,
this is weird.
And that one, the evil Spectre one, when he emerges, he weakens and depletes Superman and Diana.
So these are just a collection.
And then, of course, in the crossovers that I didn't expect to happen, they'll be facing off.
The tie-ins?
Yeah, the tie-ins. So it's a crossover event. After I swore they said they were going to focus more on self-contained stories. Look at this face.
So, where are we
on
the woo-boo scale? I
want to give it a boo because of my level of disappointment.
Mm-hmm.
It's still not a bad story. I feel like if I just gave it a boo, it'd just be out of complete frustration.
So you're still in woo territory, but you're driving towards the boo territory.
Yeah, isn't that horrible? Like, I mean, I don't know, Tony. Like, honestly, I tell you about that, and I know it's with my own distaste, and I actually like the idea of using Clayface to make these Batman. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, does this sound like? Oh, I can't wait to keep reading.
Well. The multiple Batman thing sounds really cool, but I feel like they're going a little overboard with it.
Exactly. I feel like it's just like a trope. And also, do I need another Batman-centric story? Are there not enough Bat titles? I don't know. I don't know how I feel about this. I don't know how I feel about the Doomsday Clock. That's not even out yet, and I just already.
I know. I was going to say this must make you really excited for.
No, I just
the Watchmen.
My stomach. I'm just it's stomach. So I don't even know how I feel. Okay, it's still a woo, but only because we're still reading from the Journal of Carter Hall, and I keep hoping that Hawkman's gonna be amazing. Also, Legion of Doom. The immortal people are in the Hall of Doom.
Mm-hmm.
Right, they don't call it the Hall of Doom, but it looks like the Hall of Doom from Super Friends.
Yeah.
And Vandal Savage and the other immortals are there, and Kendra goes to visit them.
Oh,
so
really?
That's cool. It's not all bad, but Batmanium.
Sounds like a bad 70s album.
It's so bad. Like, the freaking metal from Thanagar is called nth metal. Why? Why does this have to be called Batmanium? Why? Krypton
Is there a do they explain why it's called Batmanium?
No! I mean, maybe
Where does it come from?
You know, it's not explained. They just trap Batman and it starts pouring in from the crack in the ceiling on him, and all the horrors are unleashed. And of course, all the my God, my face. All of the all of the Orval dudes are murdered instantaneously. You know, so yeah, it's a soft woo.
All right, well, let's jump into something that hopefully will be a bigger woo. Let's go with Justice League America, Death on a Sentient Planet.
Thank God.
Is Ego in this?
No.
Oh.
And Ego's in Marvel.
I know. That's
all right. So...
But he's the only sentient planet I know.
Our buddies here continue the search for Ray Palmer.
Besides Unicron.
And what is it called when it's like, oh, you pretend to be our friend, but you're really the villain because this guy is actually our friend. And it's like, oh no, the guy who pretends to be our friend who told us that you were really a villain is actually the villain.
That's called being Jennifer.
But isn't there another name? Like double switch
know.
around?
Every Jennifer I've ever met is like that.
Oh, that's horrible.
I know.
Okay. So anyhow, we get like a double switcheroo. And they find...
So wait a minute. So the last time we left everybody...
They're in the microverse.
And
And he has to go to the macroverse? Microverse?
There's... What's his name, Adam?
Ryan Choi.
Ryan. And then they meet this guy who's got the Adam's belt.
Right, who is like the bad guy. So they go with
who said he was his friend, who said he was Ray Palmer's friend.
Right.
And is like, oh yeah, come. Didn't he say like, come with me? We'll go see Ray or something.
Yep.
But it's very clear that like to the reader that this guy like probably isn't a good guy.
Right. But then Attune shows up and is like, oh hey, like he's a liar and like he stole Ray Palmer's belt. Like I'm good to go. Let's do this. And Lord help us. So. Anyhow, we get to the end of the issue. They find Ray. Ray looks at Ryan. He goes, no, you can't be here. Not with him. Why did you bring it to him? No. Art was gorgeous. The story moved beautifully. Killer Frost is still afraid of herself. Those are all the highlights. I'm giving it a woo. It's the one that deserves the woo. Okay, of the ones I'm going to talk about in depthly, this one deserves the woo.
All right.
That one deserves the woo.
So next up is Action Comics number 789. And it had a wonderful lenticular cover that switched back and forth between Hope and Oz.
Am I doing this nice and slow?
Yeah.
That's super kind of cool, I hope.
Wow. Oh, yeah, that looks cool.
So you want to know what's really nifty? Is when you get to the cover of all the people, or all these people who are like, making up the S, it's like all sorts of Superman mythos people. Like even Imperiex is like encrusted on all of this, right? So it's kind of like, yes, Superman, your continuity is a mess, but really that's like the truth of like all of DC.
The Oz Effect Part 1.
So Oz is watching them.
Mm-hmm.
Oz is watching them. And he's obsessed with the idea that the Earth is not good enough for Superman and his family.
Okay.
Right? These people are bad. When given the choice, they will always choose darkness over light. And Superman gets drawn into a conflict between two warring parties of one nation, right? And they basically annihilate each other. And Superman's powerless to do anything. And Oz shows up and he goes, this is why they don't deserve you, Kal-El. Right? And he's like, why are you here? He goes, let's not discuss this here. So they appear in the fortress. Right? And he's like, you don't understand. They don't deserve you. They don't, this doesn't work. If I had known it was going to turn out this way, I never would have sent you. Right? And he's like, what do you mean send me? Who are you? What are you talking about? And he reveals himself to be, spoiler warning, spoiler alert, spoilers. 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 Jor-El.
Wait, what?
Yes, Superman's Kryptonian father, Jor-El. So all this time we're thinking it's Ozymandias, and it's Jor-El. Tony has to go to that last page. So, I mean, this is kind of a hot setup. By the way, Wonder Woman looks awesome in the lenticular on the back, by the way.
Oh my gosh.
It's so gorgeous.
Woo.
So gorgeous. And this guy's just like going around just, Oz, just annihilating people. And we know he took Jason.
So did they really set it up that he's Ozymandias from Watchmen?
No.
They didn't, but it's...
We've been assuming that all this time, and he's like, I'm Jor-El, Kal-El, Jor-El.
Oh my.
I mean, he looks like somebody who survived Krypton, so...
Oh, yeah.
I guess. I am your father. I am Jor-El. So anyhow, I don't know how I feel about this. It is just chapter 1. I don't know how I feel about it. And then...
So has this Oz / Jor-El, has he done anything that...
I mean, he removed Red Robin, from time. And we don't even know what's up with him. And the next Red Robin story we get about Tim Drake is called A Lonely Place of Living. So he's been removed from time, which of course is a play on his first appearance, A Lonely Place of Dying. I'm looking forward to that crossover. I mean, I want it to be good. I just don't. I mean, I do like crazy stuff. I just don't know how I feel about this, And also, when it comes to the Batman family, Bruce's parents are almost always sacred. Hush was meant to be Thomas Wayne.
Yeah.
A doctor, a surgeon. They're like, oh no, you can't. Bruce's parents are sacred. But it seems like nothing's ever sacred when it comes to Superman.
It's interesting though. I mean, it's interesting. I'm curious to see what direction they go in.
Right, but it still falls into a soft woo, and I probably would have been a stronger woo, but I read Supergirl as well.
Ooh, uh-oh. So let's go to
and
Supergirl.
And you know how much I love Steve Orlando. Mm-hmm. So it hurts me not to love something of his.
Are we foreshadowing your...
Yeah. Okay.
Oh boy.
This issue...
The Girl of No Tomorrow, Part 3.
Yeah, Part 3 that ends so abruptly.
Is that Enchantress?
No.
Who's that?
Emerald Empress.
Oh, Emerald Empress. Right. I remember that now.
No,
she's writing. She's fighting the Five, the new.
Yeah, essentially she's fighting them, but really she's not because a bunch of stuff happens. So what happens? Grodd was taken out by Indigo during the annual. Supergirl is exposed as a liar because the Superman cyborg is her father and being kept at the DEO, and now Emerald Empress and Cat Grant, thanks Cat, have exposed this to everyone. So mostly, 90% of the community turns on Supergirl in this issue. Supergirl has had enough with Emerald Empress. She assesses how the eye works using her supervision. And the eye is blasting Supergirl, and Emerald Empress is shocked that Supergirl's withstanding, the full barrage of the eye. And Supergirl goes for it. And just like on the freaking cover of the book, Supergirl rips the eye in half. And Emerald Empress vanishes. But everyone watching is like, what happened to that woman? Supergirl killed her. That's what they think. So all this leaves is now Indigo attacking her. Now you're wondering, what happened to Selena and... Magog? Weren't they fighting, Kryptonian werewolf on the moon? They were. So Magog starts taking a beat down. His helmet flies off. Selena's like, this is a great time for me to get the hell out. I don't know what Selena wants to do with his helmet, but she takes his helmet and she leaves and she goes, I'm sorry, I didn't sign up for werewolves. And peace out. So Selena's gone. We assume that, Lorvan just freaking ate him or incapacitated him, whatever the case, So now this brings us to just Indigo. Indigo is wailing on Supergirl like, you expected them to be good. You expected them to be like you. You expected all these things. You're wrong, Supergirl, wrong. But I'll be their hero. I'm the one they need, right? And she's like, and there's nothing you could do to stop me because, you care too much, rah, 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 rah. And you care too much about the humans. And then you hear, but I do not. And Cyborg Daddy Superman obliterates Indigo. Okay, so now everyone is removed from the equation, right? And of course, Supergirl is still exposed. So now we go into wrap up. Oh, how the public doesn't like Supergirl. Oh, they can't trust her. And the DEO is closed. The DEO has transferred ownership, right? It's transferred command. Cameron Chase, she left. She took Lorvan with her, the freaking werewolf dude. I hope I'm saying his name right. She takes Werewolf Kryptonian with her to on a road trip. And Supergirl is just
I just got to the last page.
And Supergirl is hanging out with her. I mean, as Kara, she's hanging out with her friend at work. And he's like, I don't know how I feel about working for Kat. We're attacking Supergirl. Supergirl saved me. I don't know how I feel. And she's like, don't worry. We're going to do our best to protect Supergirl by staying here and working here. And then, of course, she's like, that's it. I'm going to be Supergirl. And we end on that page. And then we cut to an epilogue. And in the epilogue, Cyborg Superman is back in a giant glass chamber. Of course, Supergirl was not happy with his intervention and the way he destroyed Indigo. So now he's back in a chamber, and Mr. Oz appears there. And he goes, He goes, all it takes is just a little bit of red sun, a little bit of red sun to just make you human, and then you'll just be drowning in all those fluids. And so, of course, he pushes a button and leads him to his death. So now, Cyborg Daddy Superman, a.k.a. Orval, is out of the equation. Oh, and a little blurb.
Seemingly murdered by his brother. But also, I'm not blaming Steve for this. This screams editorial. Am I wrong that this story feels like it ended abruptly, crazy abrupt, right? Oh, and of course, Supergirl's identity is protected by Dr. Veritas and Cameron Chase. They super erased it from the computers when they left the DEO. And of course, now the DEO is in the hands of someone that we know from before the New 52, Mr. Bones. So, woo, big game changer there. Who's Mr. Bones?
He was the head of the DEO before, and he used to be a member of Affinity Incorporated. And he has an acid touch. That's why he has the gloves. And of course,
that's not Black Mask.
No, that's just Mr. Bones. No, Black Mask, that is a Black Mask that makes him look that way. He actually has a real face. This is Mr. Bones, it's his freaking skull.
That's so weird.
Of course, but it's fine.
It's a comic.
It's a comic, right. So it's okay. You can get away with that here. I think he has invisible
skin or something.
Right, organs. Skin is an organ. All those organs are invisible, and then just a bone is exposed all over. But he can dress up and stuff.
Gotcha.
This feels so forced. And also, remember how I told you, I wonder how they're going to deal with the whole, we have two cyborg Supermen, right? And how he's just conveniently gone, Yeah. Push of a button. That story's...
Do you think... And they don't address that in the Action Comics.
Nope, not at all.
Which they tell you to pick up at the end of that episode.
Right, exactly. They tell you to pick it up. This feels so forced. I just feel like it was editorial was no, we've got to change direction. So this is end this story. This has to happen. Wow. I don't. So yeah, oh my god.
So
it's getting a boo.
Boo.
Yeah. I'm so mad.
All right.
I just can't.
Well, hopefully we can pick back up.
Okay, if you want to... Okay, in the happier places, I'm going to just nominate a few things. Number one, Runaways brand new Runaways series from Marvel comes out today. Runaways #1. Go pick that up. That'll make you happy. For those of you who are enjoying Secret Empire, because clearly there's a lot of you, even though that does not include me, Secret Empire Omega, focusing on Captain America, came out today as well. Go check that out. And and Captain Marvel Generations, like the Marvel, I don't know what they call it, or but anyhow, like that's out with Carol and Marvel. So that's something worth enjoying. So those are some Marvel picks for me. Sorry, I did not read through any Marvel this week. I only barely started Runaways. Other recommended is Mr. Miracle number 2 is out today. I think we all know how exciting Mr. Miracle 1 already is. So go check that out. And super cool. And also, First Strike number 3, people. Come on. I mean, you know I already love it. You know I already love it. That's it. We already know I'm enjoying it.
And our buddy...
Dave Rodriguez.
Our buddy Dave Rodriguez is still doing good on this?
Him and Marguerite, yes, are
awesome.
both. So I'm pleased, and that's my commentary on the week. And I'm sorry, Steve Orlando, I love you. I'm sorry. Why?
Well, we'll see.
Why?
Hopefully they do. Hopefully they, explain everything in the next issue, or possibly further on in the, in this.
If this is his last issue,
Is this his last issue?
No, but
it feels like it.
It feels so abrupt. Either they are forcing him to change direction, or editorially, or they're like, nope, sorry, we got to change direction in the book, so you're out. He didn't say anything online, so I imagine it's not his last issue. But this feels so abrupt. It's just it knocked my socks off, because I opened it like, yeah, we're gonna get somewhere, and then Mr. Bones is like, oh, I manipulated Emerald Empress enough. How? Why was Emerald Empress ever in the past to begin with? Why? We don't understand anything. Why is Saturn Girl here? Why? Fix it. Give me my Legionnaires. Oh my God, I'm so mad.
All right. Let's see if we can cheer you up.
Yes.
We're going to move on to what did we watch?
Oh, there was a lot of things I watched.
We're going to talk about 3 things specifically. First up, very controversial.
Super controversial.
Is the Orville premiered this past Sunday.
Yep, that Sunday night. So I had
Sunday
more
night.
to look forward to.
Sunday night. I tried to watch it Sunday night, could not watch it live. So
Did you watch it on the app?
I watched it on Hulu the next day.
Oh, let me tell you, I could not wait.
I woke up at 7 o'clock in the morning and watched it.
Yeah,
and then I watched it again that night with my wife.
I missed the first 20 minutes. I had the app up so fast. I was like, come on, baby. Come on. We're going to watch this. And I was like, I can't wait. I need to see this.
So,
and then
reviews for this
all over the place.
Really? All the ones I saw
are awful.
It was awful.
Yeah.
Said it's awful. It's there are way better sci-fi comedies.
Do tell. Do
you want me to go first?
Better sci-fi comedies? Do tell.
Oh, you're asking me?
Yeah.
I'm just saying what the reviews said.
No, I know. I have friends who said that, and I'm like what? Everyone is comparing this to Galaxy Quest. It can't all be Galaxy Quest. What do you expect things to be?
So okay.
It's a parody. It's a parody of Star Trek.
Let's give our opinions, and then we'll dive into conversation.
I had a good time.
You did?
Yep. Maybe it's just because I enjoy penis jokes, but I had a good time. I'm sorry, I have to say it because that's the thing.
So I was, when this trailer premiered, and when the Star Trek trailer premiered, and you can go back and watch the episode.
You actually like this trailer more.
I was more excited about this show than I was about Star Trek Discovery. Okay? And I was honestly concerned that this show was going to blow Star Trek Discovery out of the water.
I guess you're not anymore.
I'm not. I think Star Trek Discovery is going to be better. But I think it's going to be different. And I'm okay with that. And I very much enjoyed this.
Thank you.
I very much enjoyed this. My wife really enjoyed it. And I'm going to be honest with you. The thing is, Star Trek is going to be it is presenting itself as a Game of Thrones type of show. Deep mythology. It's been rated TVMA. Okay.
Yep.
And it is going to be a season-long arc.
Right, because it's all supposed to be anthologies.
Right. No. That has not been confirmed. That was the
original concept.
What's his name? The original showrunner.
Okay, that was his original proposal.
Brian. Brian Fuller. That was his original proposal. CBS, I think, was not quite on board with that idea, and then what ended up happening was he has a notorious reputation for going over budget and over schedule for the sake of the story, for the sake of the creative, and then his time and they were sort of okay with that, and then he was also doing American Gods, and I think they did not. I think what was starting to happen was that he wanted to get American Gods up and running first and then pull his attention to Discovery, and that was not on CBS's timetable, and they wanted it to go faster and to be ready faster. So
CBS and Showtime are owned by the same parent company, aren't they?
Viacom.
Yeah.
Paramount, all three of them are owned by Viacom.
So it's not like I had to get ugly with them, so that's good.
So, no, I don't think it was ugly at all, because and they've even stated that the season story arc and the first episode or two episodes are Brian Fuller's scripts, I believe.
Okay.
And Sonequa Martin Green was his choice for the character. And that the entire season 1 story arc is Brian Fuller's.
Okay.
And they just filled in the blanks.
Good.
And wrote everything in between.
Well, I'm happy because Jonathan Frakes is directing one of the episodes.
Jonathan Frakes is
and he's directing one of the Orville episodes.
So getting back to the Orville. So the thing is everybody wants TV to be like Game of Thrones. They want to binge watch it. They want it to be gritty and edgy and exciting.
Is that what you think people wanted out of this?
I think
they wanted more comedy.
Not out of this. I'm just saying in general. People want their television to be, like that. And I think that reviewers nowadays are judging things based on those criteria. It's like, oh well, is it edgy? Is it gritty? Is it profound? And the thing is that this reminds me of early Star Trek: The Next Generation. This reminds me of season 3 of Star Trek: The Next Generation, which is arguably one of the best seasons of that show. And what I love about this is that it takes the premise seriously with entertaining characters. And I think that's what I really like about this.
Am I allowed to drink soda on the bridge? Because our last captain allows to drink soda on the bridge.
I mean, it's and the relationship between the captain and the XO is it feels real. It feels like a genuine relationship and something that would really happen in a workplace. Yeah, and I love Adrian Palicki is one of my I love her and everything.
I'm so angry that Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. wrote her out for a show that ABC canceled.
They're bringing back the guy that was with her, and I think that if she wasn't on a show already, they'd probably bring her back. Maybe she'll guest star, but
I hope she guest star.
I love her. She's Mockingbird. She's got to be in it. She should be in Infinity War. I love her as an actress.
I don't think we're going to see we're going to see any TV characters in Infinity War.
I'm still crossing my fingers.
I'm crossing my fingers, but I don't like the way they're acting.
I really enjoyed this. My opinion is look, I like now that I'm older and I'm a dad and my life is already filled with stress because I'm trying to raise 2 boys in this world. My wife and I both work full time. We have all of these things and our schedules are crazy. And
while Joe tells us the Orville sucks, he must think we're both crazy.
Joe, whatever.
It's like you've lost. You're losing your credibility. You and I are going to have a conversation. You're losing your credibility, guys.
He has like 14 kids.
Maybe that's why. Maybe it's just too much like rounding up the kids. And he's like, it's awful.
So I don't know why. I mean, anyway. So what's interesting is look, I worked in the film industry. I used to watch independent film. I used to need something profound. Huge fan of Battlestar Galactica, the reboot. I mean, all of that stuff. I watched the first 3 seasons of Walking Dead. I'm now at a point in my life where when I watch television or movies, I don't need it to be edgy and gritty. I need it to be light and fluffy sometimes. Adam Sandler movies, I have never enjoyed Adam Sandler movies in my life. Until now. Not his early stuff. His early stuff is pretty good, like Billy Madison.
Oh, God, I love Billy
But
Madison.
like I'm talking about Grown Ups.
Oh, no, Happy Gilmore's my favorite.
Happy Gilmore's great. The stuff he's doing for Netflix that it just, people are panning. But the thing is like, at this point in my life, I want to put something on the TV that is going to be entertaining, and if I fall asleep in the middle of it, I'm not going to be upset that I didn't finish it.
Oh, that's awful.
It's not awful.
No,
it's
it's
called
all-
being exhausted.
Oh yeah, but we're all have okay. I'm not gonna go there. Okay, you got parenting issues. I'm saying this is like fun parody Star Trek, and like let's give it a shot past one episode.
The thing is it's and it has some parody to it, but it even treats itself a little bit more seriously. It's almost like light satire.
It is like satire, but it's good. Like I thought it was okay.
I enjoyed it. It was solid. It wasn't like profound and fast paced and like engaging to the point where I couldn't look away. But it was entertaining enough that I want to go on more adventures with these characters. I want to get to know these people more. I want to get to know
That's funny.
I want to get to know, I want to get to know these characters. I want to see how they interact and how they get along, and I want to.
For the record, Joe, I watched Uncensored Rick and Morty like as soon as I was done with this. Just which by the way, that was season 3, episode 7, Rick and Morty. That was a phenomenal episode.
I need
and
to try this Rick and Morty
if you want something that's more compelling, deep, thought-provoking, controversial, pushing boundaries, watch that episode. It's insane. And if we remove the elements of why you're watching it for the sake of being a fan of the show, because you're rewarded for being a fan of the show. You're rewarded for being a fan of the show by watching that episode. But if you pan back and just watch it as an episode of its own, it's like a really crazy movie, like movie thriller, everything. Mm-hmm. Okay? There's a whole like citadel that various parallel universes versions of Rick built, and so it's Rick and Morty's everywhere.
Okay.
Right? And of course, thanks to Rick himself at the beginning of the season, it's been left in absolute chaos. So now all the Ricks and all the Mortys have been shuffled off into sectors and doing jobs like being police and running labs and all sorts of crazy stuff. Right? And then what do you do about Ricks who have no Mortys? What do you do with Mortys who have no Ricks? So there's Morty Town, right? And then there's a cop who's paired with a Rick, and the Morty cop like hates other Mortys, And so like he just goes and they have a confrontation with a Rick with some Mortys who look like they're doing.
Don't spoil it for me. I want to watch this.
Well, anyhow, he look. I gotta tell you this one, and I'll leave it with this. Right? He basically like shoots them, and the whole freaking thing disintegrates. And Cop Rick is like, "What did you just do?" He's like, "It's just another day of Mortys killing Mortys. Get in the car." So I'm gonna leave you with that. That one thing I'm leaving you with, and yet there is at least 15 other things going on in the episode.
That's too rough for me. I just want to watch the Orville.
No, but I'm just saying, for people who want something more, it is super thought-provoking, and it's quite rough, but it was good and it was entertaining, and I'm just like, it is and it isn't. I'm just telling you. So it's like this, right? And for me, there was that, and I was like, oh, what? And then there was the Orville. I'm like, I had a few laughs, and I enjoyed penis jokes, and that was okay, And I'm like, I'll go on another adventure with these guys. I wish we had gotten to know them all a little bit more in the first episode, but we kind of like got.
It was very introductory. That's the thing I'll be honest with you. One negative about it is I thought that this did Jon Favreau direct Swingers?
I don't remember. Maybe
I forget if he directed Swingers.
I know he directed Knocked Up and This Is 40.
I will tell you, he didn't direct This Is 40.
That's his wife in the movie. Didn't he direct it?
No, you're thinking of what's his name? Adam. What's This Is 40, 50-50, Knocked Up, Judd Apatow.
Oh my God! Apatow. Wow, my boob. Sorry.
Jon Favreau is the director of Iron Man and Iron
Chef.
Man 2.
Yes.
Yeah, and he plays Happy in the Marvel Universe.
Yes. I'm sorry.
So Jon Favreau directed this.
My brain. Oh my goodness.
I actually thought I don't know what it was, but I actually thought this is the worst thing Jon Favreau has ever directed. Like I was expecting more. Don't get me wrong. This is a very good episode of sci-fi television from the 90s, in my opinion, which is fine because it's exactly what I was expecting. But I thought, oh well, Jon Favreau, maybe it'll have a little bit of like Jon Favreau to it, and I didn't I didn't see any John Favreau. I mean, you could have told me that Alan
That Jonathan
Smithy
Frakes directed this episode.
No, I think Jonathan Frakes would have even been better. But
well, we're gonna find out soon, aren't we?
We will.
So we're leaving.
So overall, it's a woo from both of us. I can't wait to see the next one. It did very well in the ratings. The premiere did very well in the ratings.
Fingers crossed, people. Give it a second shot.
So, and that's all that the studio cares about.
Yeah.
So, or the network. So as long as it continues that, we go to the next episode. I have a feeling it might have a big drop off in episode 2.
I'm sure it's gonna jump the way people are talking.
Yeah, but the thing is I think there's a strong audience for this stuff. And I'm hoping, and I hope Star Trek fans support this because we need more television like this, and I think that there's a lot of nods to TNG in this, and
I completely agree. I was very, very disappointed by seeing a lot of people not happy with it.
All right, so now we're going to talk about, well, not we, but you, and we have a special guest, Adam. Come on over. So we're going to have Adam, our stream technician, is gonna.
If only we could have had you.
If only
we could have had you Enterprise out, and then Enterprise in via teleportation. Hi, Adam.
Hello.
You're on the other side. How is it?
Weird.
I know. So we're the only ones here who went to go see the movie It. Yeah. So did you read the book ever?
No.
Okay, but you watched the original.
long.
You watched the original miniseries.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, I made the mistake of reading the book a long time ago, and that, sure enough, did not allow me to sleep plenty. But I didn't remember all of the details. I was certainly fuzzy on it, and I had not watched the Tim Curry series in a while. But I remember the key things that were controversial to me, and the key things that stood out to me in the story. Now, I know from the get-go, looking at the cast, looking at the time frame of the movie, right? Or that's only 2 hours, 2.5 hours, right? Or about 2 hours 15, whatever.
Yeah, something like that.
I knew this was not the entire story. Okay, so that was no surprise to me walking in. So I went with my friend Brian, and we were just hoping. Brian loves horror, so he was really hoping to be scared. I don't love horror, but somehow I do like Stephen King because I feel like it's sci-fi fantasy horror versus just horror. It's this thing just came out of nowhere. It's just, oh my God, it's awful. And all of his stuff is it. In the book, it's I am an ancient cosmic being. And, I discovered your universe millions of years ago. And, fear makes your flesh taste so good. So I was oh God, okay, but I'm in,
Yeah.
So I was ready for that. And so immediately the first thing that stuck out to me is the cinematography.
Yeah.
Right? Because, the whole thing with Georgie, beautiful, and I love that Georgie is scared in the basement, right? Mm-hmm. And then, of course, there's nothing for him to be afraid of in the basement. Yeah. So, it's all set up for us. And, he goes upstairs back to his brother, and, Bill makes the boat for him, just like in the original story. No big differences here. And then he goes out into the street, and he loses his sailboat to a sewer drain. Every time. And then that's when the movie gets seriously graphic.
Yeah.
So, what were your thoughts on that?
The opening scene?
Yeah.
Yeah. I thought it was great.
That was just straight out of the book. Yeah. Almost creepy. A visual match for the original TV series.
Yeah, it almost seemed shot for shot.
Yeah, really cool.
Yeah, super creepy.
Pennywise's eye just rolling by itself.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was freaking crazy. And then, he lops his arm off with a giant bite and then grabs his bloody corpse body from the street into the sewer while he's screaming for his brother. So, that's pretty horrifying. And I'm in a theater filled with parents who brought their kids to see this. Right? So, guess what? Guess who left the theater completely, totally mentally disturbed? The parents. The kids were a little scared. We all jumped together at all the jump times. But no, the parents were like, what did I do? Why did I buy 5 tickets thinking this is a family event? What is wrong with me? You're my babies and I want to protect you. Why did we come see this movie? Filled with alien monstrous threats, but also the threat of monstrous humanity. Right? Because the children all face really horrible stuff That it doesn't even have to do with the freaking clown.
Yeah, like other than the clown, crappy parents.
Munchausen syndrome
psycho
mom,
bully.
right? Psycho bully wanting to carve his name into your flesh. Oh, let's
An
murder
abusive
let's
dad.
murder the only Negro boy in town. Don't worry, he lives. Tony is like sweating and eye bulging on the other side. It is like hilarious, and he really is. And
You're never going on the show again, Adam.
It's going off the rails.
this isn't his fault.
I'm gonna blame him.
Well, I mean, but this is heavy duty. So, like, if you, I'm just sorry that some of the things we talk about, this just can't be something you're just gonna sit around and hang out with the kids talking about this.
Heavy subjects in this, obviously.
Very heavy subject. So, like, so Carol is like suffers from sexual abuse from her father. And of course that turns out to be like a huge like that's like her fear, and then of course so anyhow it's just so intense. So that's why there's this big part of me like, why did people bring their kids to this movie? Like, it was all good, and then
knowing that it wasn't really a family movie.
No, they really didn't. They really didn't. But anyhow, I mean, there's a lot of controversial things from the book they did not do in the movie. I thought they did a great job. There's several things not really answered in this movie, but I feel like a sequel will do that. And I'm sorry if I'm really ruining the idea of there being a sequel for everybody, but it's like, if you knew about the book, man, you knew going into this there's a sequel, because the book covers them as children defeating this creature and as adults facing off against this creature. But yeah, Pennywise, like, terrifying. Not full-on terrifying. I mean, moments of terrifying, but this guy's brilliant. Bill Skarsgård, brilliant as his character.
Especially with such, like, high standards going in, like, having to live up to Tim Curry's performance.
Yeah, and coming from a whole family of actors.
Yeah.
I mean, his father is one of the resident scientists in the Marvel Universe. He's in Thor and he's in the Avengers. And of course his brother has been on played Eric on True Blood. So like, you've got this. Oh right, that's right, he played Tarzan too. So you got this like whole family line of actors who got a lot of attention on them. But yeah, he's absolutely great. I'm so sorry that this movie goes to dark places, and I had to just say that because it's, so if you haven't seen it yet and you're thinking about going with the kids, please just don't. Just don't do that. Just don't. So yeah.
Well, I think one of the positives and you've talked about it a lot, is how good the kid actors were.
The kids are amazing. The kids are amazing. They are fantastic.
Yeah, not a weak point. They all hold their own.
Absolutely, every one of them.
Like,
yep.
Woos.
It's totally a woo.
Yeah, I'd say
totally a woo. I read a couple of reviews where they're like, oh, this movie, like, didn't push the envelope where it could have. I'm like, the studio wants to make some money. Also, this had the third biggest opening weekend in all of 2017. Probably thanks to all those parents taking their kids. But anyhow, really good. Lots of jump scares. I'm only going to say this. I'm not going to tell you what happens. I'm just going to say projector screen. Okay? That part of the movie, you were going to scream. You don't think you know what's going to happen, and then you realize you don't know what's happening. Great time. Also, I mean, just great. The kids were great, and it's an R-rated film. Lots of 80s throwbacks. The children are wonderful, great actors. It is a horror R-rated film. All right, so woo from us.
Go see it.
That's right.
And then I'm going back behind the scenes.
Well, thank you, Adam. Thank you for
sitting there and agreeing and disagreeing with me.
One last thing before we.
I love how you're like, I'm never watching this movie. Never.
I'm not a big horror fan to begin with, and now that I've had kids, I know I keep mentioning that, but it's like, now that I have kids, like, I can't handle anything that has to do with kids in danger, kids in peril.
It's rough.
I barely can handle any of that stuff, and my wife can't handle it at all.
And
so
then
just completely
throw in a mix of lots of audience members with a fear of clowns. And like, what were all of you thinking?
well, speaking of clowns,
Oh.
that's not true.
Well,
so
it's
big
the way
news,
this looks.
Big news dropped. Colin Trevorrow is out as Star Wars Episode 9 director, and our old pal J.J. Abrams is back in to write and direct Episode 9 and close out the trilogy. There's an eye roll from Cliff. I have some mixed feelings about it. What do you think?
I think he gave a nice boost start that was very safe, right?
Which was a choice.
Which
I want everybody to understand that this was not we're just, we accidentally made a rehash of everything.
No, it was
that
a
was
choice.
a conscious choice
Yeah.
to recapture the feeling of the original trilogy.
And it did. He used. I feel he placed his bets on the power of nostalgia, right, to get us a win. And I still enjoyed the film. I had a good time.
I love The Force Awakens. I love it. It's my third favorite Star Wars movie.
In the meantime, I actually enjoyed Rogue One more because with those with
my fourth favorite Star Wars movie.
because with that whole layer of storytelling, I just didn't know what was going to happen going in, and like that level of freshness was just great.
Yeah.
And really just like
You're speaking of Rogue One.
Of Rogue One, yeah.
Yeah.
The stakes are just high and just, well, how is this even going to end?
Adam, can we get that full screen so they can see? We can see JJ there. Yeah, look at that.
Hilarious.
So first off, thoughts on Colin Trevorrow leaving, being fired, whatever happened. In my opinion, they basically, very diplomatically fired him.
Right, but that's happening too much lately. I don't care for that. Yeah, I'm kind of. I almost feel like this is a stunt. These are like stunts to draw attention. I feel like Hollywood is getting so obsessed with making big, marketable multiverse movie. I'm just so tired. I can't believe this. I am like desperately seeking independent films. Because I'm so overloaded by this. Don't get me wrong. I as a geeky guy, I love this stuff. I can't wait to watch it. But the road to each of them is exhausting. Like I am spent on Justice League. I'm so spent on. I have no room. I have no room. Like this. Good luck. Love to see you in it, baby. Like that's it. That's all I have left to say because I am done. Like I am trying to emotionally control myself for Justice League. Like I need to get there. Yeah. Like I need to get. I'm so looking forward to the Kingsman.
Oh, me too.
I'm just so because I need that movie.
In a couple weeks too,
I need that movie. I need that movie to freaking settle me down. Calm me down from the superhero high and mania.
Yep.
Calm me down from being terrified going to bed at night because of this freaking clown. Just and having very conflicted feelings because Bill Skarsgård is extremely attractive, and then. You look extra red now. Oh, yeah. And then to top that all off, so I need the Kingsman. I need the Kingsman to just cool me off.
Palate cleanser.
It's a palate cleanser. I'm looking forward to it.
So let me just say, let's beep back the truck up.
Of course, but you understand where I'm coming from.
I understand.
Yeah.
Here's how I see this whole situation. So, much like Kevin Feige in the Marvel Universe, okay. Kathleen Kennedy, I believe, has a vision for these Star Wars movies.
Okay.
And that's great because you need somebody at the helm of a major franchise like this. Case in point is Warner Brothers does not have somebody at the helm. That ship is all over the place.
Please let's not. I love them too. I love these characters too much. I can't take another minute. I can't.
But I think so let's just start at that point, okay? And the rumor is that Kathleen Kennedy, that you have to be able to work with Kathleen Kennedy or else you're done. Okay? Now, let's look at the whole scope of this. So let's back up, okay, to Star Wars Celebration 2 years ago.
Oh wow, we're going far.
I'm going far, baby.
He's time traveling.
I'm going
us.
far.
If
Okay?
only we had the lines.
This is before Rogue One, Okay? This may have even been before The Force Awakens. And this was Star Wars Celebration in California or Orlando? Orlando. Because then they did one, because last year they did it in London, and it wasn't too great. And then this past year they did it in Orlando. So 2 years ago, they were doing a director's panel with the standalone movie directors. And if anybody remembers this, it was Gareth Edwards for Rogue One, and it was Josh Trank for the untitled Boba Fett movie. Do you remember this?
Vaguely.
Okay. Yeah, everybody's forgotten about this. Okay?
Of course.
Josh,
Because that was 2012.
This was 2000.
Oh, I'm sorry, no.
This was the year that
15.
Force Awakens came out.
So
2015.
2015. I'm sorry. Sorry. I'm trying to hold this together. I need to hydrate more.
Okay. Now this was shortly after the release of the wonderful, critically acclaimed, and popular Fantastic Four.
I'm so mad because that fiasco launched the war against the Fantastic Four.
There was a war before the Fantastic Four.
No. But this is the official. That was the official war.
That made it
we don't.
thing.
They don't have products. They don't have a comic. They have nothing.
So that the whole situation with Josh Trank, and then mysteriously he left the project, which I believe he really did, but I believe that it was like a look, you need to play ball or you should go.
Do you remember when Rogue One was supposed to be a Netflix exclusive? Do you remember hearing that once upon a time?
No, I never heard that.
That was a long time ago. But whatever. I'm sure I'm wrong. Obviously,
well, I think what you're thinking of is that the streaming rights to Rogue One.
We're gonna go to them.
And well, I think what you're thinking of is that Disney announced a deal with Netflix that all of their content would go to Netflix.
No, but I feel like that came much after.
Possibly.
But listen, obviously,
so Josh Trank, days before Celebration, Josh Trank dropped out of the movie. Okay, so that's our first thing. Okay, then. Rogue One reshoots. The dreaded word, reshoots. Guess what? Marvel invented the process of going back and of scheduling, before you even start principal photography, scheduling what used to be called pickup shots, which were just little pieces of scenes and shots and things, and expanding that to reshoots.
Which I love about Star Trek: The Next Generation. We'll come back to that.
Star Trek: The Next Generation.
Yeah, I got a story about that. So
okay,
go ahead.
So, about Generations,
and just to show
the death of Kirk. Oh,
no, it's about the off-screen stuff. So they, how they always have to shoot all these off-screen things, right?
Oh yeah.
They became such a close, tight-knit cast that they would show up just for off-screen glances. Someone would have to look at the camera and give a face, and on the other side would be an old shot of Deanna being like, right? So she would just sit there. Marina Sirtis would just sit there and give the look, so that it would just come across the room. So I think that's the best, and that was the anniversary reunion that they talked about this for the Blu-rays for Next Generation, and I thought that was fantastic because all the ladies of Star Trek took out Kate Mulgrew when Voyager was announced, and they went to dinner, and she goes, "I hear you guys show up to set for reshoots and everything," and she's like, for off-camera dialogue, and then Marina Sirtis and Dr. Crusher.
Gates McFadden.
Gates McFadden, and tell her, "Oh, honey, we show up for off-screen glances. We show up for everything. And then the parallel of that is Kate Mulgrew talking about the last days of filming Voyager were extremely lonely because it was just her and the green screen and no one else. So no one showed up for Kate Mulgrew for off-screen anything." Aww. But anyhow, that's my story. I'm sorry. I always think of that when people talk about the section of reshooting and all of that. But you're right. Go ahead. So Marvel invented this process.
So Marvel invented the process of reshoots. Okay. So basically, they would shoot the film. They would edit the film together as best they could, with or without the special effects.
By the way, this adds to Joss Whedon doing reshoots, I think, he's like, let's just do this the way I did it with the other boys.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you mean with Justice League?
With Justice League. Because, okay, I just want you to know, Joss Whedon taking the helm is exactly what I would have done from day one. Because, what DC Comics used to do when Marvel was kicking their butts was hire their talent to make stuff to kick Marvel's butts back.
Oh yeah, this is a reflection of the comic book era.
And I'm just saying, I would have done this day one. That's it. So we are where we are. Go ahead, reshoots.
So they invented that. Okay, so you edit the film together, you watch the film, you figure out what works and what doesn't in the story, what you need to bolster and what you need to take out, and then you go back and you reshoot stuff and you change it. And then that gives you that extra layer of writing and storytelling to make a good film. Okay? So reshoots is not a bad word. Okay? So let's just get that out of there. So Rogue One goes to reshoots. Okay? Now, then we hear that I always mix them up. There's an artist and a director. Christopher McQuarrie? Ralph McQuarrie.
You keep saying this.
I
know. I'm sorry.
One of the McQuarries was going to write and direct the reshoots. Okay? Because it needed a certain style and a certain tone or whatever. And they needed to really bolster the third act. All right? And it's a good thing they did because Rogue One has one of the best third acts of any movie ever.
Holy cow.
Ever.
You know what's funny? Even people who don't like the film will not argue with the
I
third
know.
act. They're like, well, then the movie got crazy.
And let me tell you, so everybody's like, oh, they replaced Gareth Edwards. No, they did not replace Gareth Edwards. Here's what in my mind happened, okay? And what probably did happen is they all sat down and watched the movie. They all said, you know what? Some of this isn't working. What do we need to do? Okay? And somebody, whoever it was, because it's a collective process and it's a collaborative process, said we should bring in such and such to write and direct these reshoots, Mr. McQuarrie. Gareth Edwards agreed and was still a part of that process. He even directed the reshoot of the Darth Vader scene at the end in the hallway.
Awesome.
And I don't know if you people know this, but you go back and you look at the stories that came out with Godzilla, the Godzilla that Gareth Edwards directed. Same McQuarrie came in and helped do reshoots. So this has been
if only that one
a precedent.
That one had been more
okay?
enjoyable.
Yeah. So
I actually kind of like that film for the record, and I hope it stays in continuity with that.
It does.
Universe.
It does. So for all we know, Gareth Edwards is the one who said, hey, let's bring him on board because I worked with him on Godzilla.
Yep.
We work well together.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I feel confident in his ability to do this job. Mm-hmm. A lot of people don't know this too, but on any movie, there's usually a second unit that goes out and shoots the miscellaneous exterior shots of actors walking in and out, car chase scenes, and it's a completely different director.
And sometimes months in advance.
Yeah,
you know?
and completely off. I mean, and they have second unit directors that go off and do this, and they work for the director. It's all because these films are such huge productions. They're basically like a giant company that works for 2 years and then dissolves.
Or 18 months, or whatever the case may be.
And the thing is people don't realize that this is a huge collaborative process. The director usually has, visionary control, but it's really the producers, that's making the ultimate calls at the end of the day. And Kathleen Kennedy is the producer on all of these films.
Right, but she's a powerful producer because there's a lot of producers who I feel are calling zero shots in other productions.
Part of the thing is that as the producer, you hire the director to make the film. Okay? Yeah. And that's what you do. Now let's go to Han Solo. Okay? Mm-hmm. The next issue.
Which director are we on now?
So now we're on, you mean like...
For Han Solo.
Well, so originally it was Phil Lord and Chris Miller, unless I...
Yep, whatever.
But anyway,
they are. They're important.
They're really good directors. 21 Jump Street, 22 Jump Street.
I do love
the Lego Movie. They're wonderful films. They're very good storytellers, okay? They have a specific process that's very loose and they're really good. They're great filmmakers, okay? Mm-hmm. Lawrence Kasdan, who wrote Empire Strikes Back and who helped write Episode 7 and who wrote Han Solo with his son as his swan song. This is his final writing film, his final scripted film, and is passing it on to his son and really wants this. Rumor is that he championed these directors to come on board. He wanted them to come because of the products that they have delivered. Okay? Now here's the problem. They have a specific process. It's a lot of improv. It's a lot of working around the script. It's a lot of finding different moments and different things. Okay? And the rumor is that they did not stick close enough to the script than what Kathleen Kennedy and company wanted. They then told Lawrence Kasdan, who came in and agreed after he had championed these directors to come in. And they basically said, when we go to reshoots, we need somebody else to be in charge of this because you're not sticking close enough to it.
And that's when we get Ron
And
Howard.
they said, and the rumor is that they said, no, we do the reshoots our way or we walk.
Well,
and she said, have a nice day, gentlemen. Because they didn't play ball. Gareth Edwards played ball. It's a collaborative process. Kathleen Kennedy, as the producer, felt that they needed extra help to produce the level of quality that she and everyone expects.
Which really, with the amount of money that's been invested into Star Wars and the need to profit off of that, my bar would be very high.
So now we get Ron Howard, who's come in and is finishing the job. Now, it's quite possible that due to DGA rules, nobody on the production can be brought in to replace. So Lawrence Kasdan can't step in to direct. Kathleen Kennedy can't step in. Nobody can step in to direct. It has to be an outside entity that comes in. Now, that's not to say that Lawrence Kasdan isn't sitting next to Ron Howard every day and saying, this is what you should do. How about you do this? Or,
But I feel like Ron knows what he's doing. I feel like Ron's like, again, watch the magic happen.
It's a collaborative process, okay? And they are and they're reshooting what they need to. Okay? Now we go to episode 9. They were not scheduled to begin production for episode 9 until January, which is a smart move because I'm not a big fan of starting production on a movie before the preceding movie comes out. Because you need it to come out, you need to gauge reactions, you need to see what worked, what didn't, what the audience is responding to, and then you shoot your next movie. Okay? Very smart move. So you have Colin Trevorrow, who, rumor has it, that after that he's Spielberg's boy, and he was brought in to direct Jurassic World, and it was such a huge hit, and that was his first big movie, that he got very confident, let's say, in his abilities. All right? So he steps in and he starts crafting a film. And then we have something tragic happened. The death of Carrie Fisher. Okay? A lot of people don't remember that. All right, that happened, and the rumor was that episode 9 was a Leia-driven story, and now that's impossible.
Which is just breaking my
without
heart.
recasting or some kind of CG magic, which they've already said they're not going to do. Okay, so now you have to A, recraft that story, and B, you have to treat the current movie that's in production a certain way. Okay? And you need to basically make that the end of Leia's story in some way. All right? So, rumor has it that, again, this director, Colin Trevorrow, was not playing ball in the way that was necessary to produce the quality of product. So now, we are parting ways. Chris Terrio, who wrote Batman v Superman and Justice League, is coming in to co-write the script with J.J. Abrams. Which, by the way, he's a wonderful writer, and I do not fault Batman v Superman for him. And whatever issues come up with Justice League, because Joss Whedon is getting a writing credit on it, which means he probably wrote more than 50% of the script, and is probably directing more than 50% of the script, but not getting a DGA credit. And Chris Terrio also wrote a little movie called Argo,
which I did enjoy.
Which is very good.
Which
and he works very well with Ben Affleck.
Which is the movie that officially told me Ben Affleck is an actor.
And a director.
Oh,
Ben Affleck directed that movie.
I do know that. I do know that.
I mean, it's a great movie. It's Oscar nominated.
Of course, no,
Oscar
it's
winning.
Yeah, and he didn't get any of the nominations. It got nominated. Well, no, but anyhow, my point is, I was like, wow, he's like really good in this movie.
Yeah.
You know.
So, in my opinion, I think everybody's freaking out over what is probably nothing. I've worked in the industry before. I understand that it is a very collaborative process. I mostly worked on the set part, like on set. I didn't do much pre-production. I didn't do much post-production. I didn't do any post-production.
We should make an independent film.
Let's slow down.
Adam, what do you think? Yeah.
He gave us the thumbs up. Anyway,
Love
it is a very collaborative process. When you're on the set, there's a lot of input from different things. And the director is generally the person who makes the final decision and takes all the input and has a vision for the story. But there are a lot of elements and a lot of people involved. And the thing is that not everybody clicks. And in a world of independent film that I worked in, you don't have the luxury of firing people. You usually have to stick with the people you have through the whole process.
I think that makes you a more powerful creator, by the way, because you all have to learn to work together
I understand.
to make this art.
But
I know.
At this level?
No, of course. We're talking
don't
about
have
billions
time
of
for that.
dollars.
Yeah,
We're talking
you
about
don't have
billion
time for
dollar.
that.
We're talking about multi-billion dollar empire. I get it.
And if it's a couple few extra $1 million to do it right,
Yeah.
then you do it.
Yeah.
And that's what Kathleen Kennedy knows.
What's an extra 400 million? Someone's going, excuse me?
Well, the thing is like it's how you work with somebody is almost more important than how good of a job you can do. And I'll be honest with you,
Because they'll produce a cleaner product, I imagine.
And the thing is and I'll end with this: good movies are made by talented filmmakers who enjoy working together. And the better that bond is working, and the better teamwork there is, and the better collaboration there is, the better product you're going to produce on the other end. That's almost always the case 100% of the time. Almost always the case 100% of the time. Anyway, I think that these are instances where there have been directors who have agreed with that and directors who haven't, and unfortunately the directors who don't agree with it are no longer employed. Because Kathleen Kennedy is a strong producer and she has decided not to work with those individuals. And I applaud her for that because she is sticking to her guns and sticking to... And how was Rogue One?
Apparently not everybody loved it, but I did.
So everybody
It did very well anyway.
Everybody's freaking out about this. Now, having J.J. Abrams direct it, I love J.J. Abrams. I used to be... When I was an early filmmaker... J.J. Abrams was a director that I very much looked up to, and I very much enjoy his movies, and I think he's an extremely talented director. Do I think he's the right person for Episode 9? I'm not entirely sure. But
you know what? He launched it. He can close it. I just hope there's more creative magic to this as we wrap up our storyline.
I hope he does. I hope he goes play. I hope this makes sense. I hope he is uncomfortable making this film.
Right, because especially after someone else took the helm and has crafted a whole new middle arc for us to follow.
And
that we're gonna
Ryan
see
Johnson,
this,
Ryan Johnson is not a guy who comes in and takes the safe route.
Yeah.
I mean, if you've seen Looper or any of his other films, this is not a guy who does what you're expecting or who crafts a story that's predictable. You bring this guy in to tell a compelling and engaging story and to take characters to places you're not expecting them to go.
Looper's freaking great.
Looper's amazing.
Amazing.
And we're already starting to see in some of the materials that are coming out that that Ryan Johnson has done that. He has done stuff that is against what you would normally see in Star Wars.
Well, I already love the trailer is like a visual parallel to what we're used to seeing in Star Wars trailers.
Exactly.
You know?
So, in keeping with Star Wars, let's talk about what we played. And I'm going to talk a little bit about a game that I played recently. Did I just close that? Oh, shoot. I played Star Wars Rebellion. Let me grab the... hang on, I just closed the picture. Here we go. So this is Star Wars Rebellion.
I've heard so much about this.
This is a huge box, and a huge game.
It's a $99 game, right?
It's a $99 game. It's from Fantasy Flight, so you know it's going to be good quality, and have a really terrible insert.
I thought this was better than most. I'm under that impression.
No, the insert of like where the pieces go in.
Oh,
It's just
right.
like a cardboard like foldy thing. I literally took it out and put in.
I'm gonna be fair
put it on
to
their
I'm gonna be fair to Fantasy Flight, and I'm gonna call it a 50-50 because
50-50?
right because the Fury of Dracula I played that was from Fantasy Flight. Everything fit beautifully. But one of my friends who brought the game out did comment that it's like, oh, look how well everything fits. So it's not like it was something we were used to, but you know, yeah, I certainly had some Fantasy Flight games where there was like nothing.
Yeah.
Like there was a deck builder I got from them years ago, and of course now it's out of print and they don't have the license anymore. So what can I do? But there's nothing inside, nothing.
So this game. This is a 2 or 4 player game. Okay, so it's either 1 versus 1 or it's teams of 2 playing against each other. Okay,
And you can paint the pieces.
You can paint the pieces if you want, but it's really not necessary.
No, well, there's a lot of miniature painter lovers. You
Yeah,
realize.
it's a huge hobby.
So
So this game, and this is a long game. This is like a 4-hour game because, are you ready for this?
I am.
It spans the original Star Wars trilogy.
And it breaks into missions.
Oh, it's far beyond that. So what this is basically one person plays the Empire, one person plays the Rebel Alliance.
And 4-player, it's 2.
If it's 4-player, you have one person plays an admiral who's in charge of the space forces, and one person plays a general who's in charge of the ground forces, which is just fantastic. Okay, so
you truly get to relive Rogue One.
actually,
They have the Rogue One.
first expansion for this includes Rogue One characters and some other characters like Jabba the Hutt and some other
I saw
characters.
a miniature expansion that features Hoth Leia and some of the characters from there.
For this.
Yes,
I think
and-
you're thinking of Star Wars Assault, the dungeon crawl game. Yeah. The only expansion for this is the Rogue One.
Well, I'm so wrong, and I'm sorry. Good night, everybody.
This game plays. This is the layout of the board. Adam, can we get that full screen? So this is the setup. Okay.
Shut my mouth.
So you have the galaxy here.
We gotta play this now.
We're gonna play this. This game is amazing. And you have one side is the Empire and one side is the Rebel Alliance. Now, this is another picture of the board. So if you look at, let me get a big full screen there. Okay. Now on the left side of the board, you'll see these numbers on a track. Okay. Mm-hmm. Now this is the time track. If you look closely, you'll see one little red dot on the 14. Mm-hmm. That's where the Rebel Alliance, the sympathy, or I forget what it's called, but it's basically like your reputation. The Rebel Alliance reputation tracker starts. Then the time marker starts on 1. Now, if those two markers ever occupy the same space, the Rebel Alliance is 1, meaning that it has gained enough reputation in the galaxy to turn the tide of the conflict over to the Alliance side. Ooh. So the Rebel Alliance wins. Now, at the end of every round, that tracker moves up 1, okay? And the Rebel Alliance has objectives to help move their counter down, right? Now, also on the time thing, you can't really see them, but there's little tiny icons. There's one for recruiting, where you can recruit new leaders, and I'll explain that in a minute, and a building icon where you can build new troops and new ships and new forces. Okay, now some of the spaces have both icons. Some of them only have one, and some of them have none. So there's certain times during the game where these things will trigger, and you'll do these things to help build your forces and build your resources to play the game. Now, right above the time tracker on the left, you'll see a big icon of the Rebel Alliance and 2 smaller icons. That's the Rebel base location. All right. But it's secret. Okay? So it's one of the planets in the galaxy, but the Imperial player doesn't know which one it is. So all of the forces that you're building at the Rebel base go on that space. And the Imperial player wins if they destroy the Rebel base. if they find it and destroy the rebel base, just like in the movie, because they're looking for the rebel base with the Death Star, right? Now, there's a probe droid deck that has one card for every location on the map. So one of those cards is selected by the rebel player and placed underneath the board on that space to indicate where it is. Now, the Imperial player at the end of every turn will draw 2 probe droid cards.
The 1, 2, 3, and okay.
I'll explain that. So the Imperial player will draw 2 probe droid cards at the end of every turn, telling him where the rebel base is not located, and he keeps those cards. All right. So then,
who confirms where it is and isn't?
So if the Imperial player enters the system that the rebel base is at, the rebel player has to reveal immediately that the rebel base is there.
Like in Fury Dracula, hunting Dracula down.
Very similar.
Yeah.
It's a very similar mechanic. Now, then the Imperial player will obviously decide to attack, and
then you better defend with everything you got.
You better do it. So now, what's interesting is that if you're the rebel player and you have forces built there, troops or ships, and you want to move them, you have to move them to an adjacent system on the map. Okay. So if you pull them off that rebel base square and then you put them on a system,
must reveal.
Well, you don't reveal where your base is, but you've just informed them that your base is adjacent to that system,
which is kind of rough based on this.
Now, but there is a way. You start with a hand of 4 mission cards, I think, and your 4 starting mission cards you always keep. So after you use them, you would get them back in your hand. And then you have a deck of mission cards that you can draw from. And once you resolve them, whether you achieve them or not, they go to a discard pile. Okay. But you always get the base ones back. And I believe one of them is you can relocate the rebel base, which is pretty cool. So, what happens is all of the forces that you've accumulated at the rebel base, they go into the system where the base was, and then your new rebel base has nothing. So you have to start fresh.
No. So again, strategy and planning.
Exactly. So now
the similarities with Dracula.
Yes, except it's Star Wars, and it's a little bit more complicated because each round has 3 phases. It has the I forget what it's called, like the planning phase. Mm-hmm. Then it has the basically the execution phase. Then it has like the cleanup phase, and I may be getting the names wrong, but basically during the planning phase, you choose missions to send your leaders on. So you start with a certain number of leaders, and your leaders are popular characters from the show. So like if you're the rebels, you have Mon Mothma, you have Leia, you have General Dodonna, you have General Riken. General Riken.
Do they throw Ahsoka in to make me excited?
She's not in the game, I don't think yet, but I'm sure there'll be more expansions. Hopefully. So I hope they do a Clone Wars expansion. That would be really cool. So what you do is you take a mission card, you put it face down, and then you put a leader on it or 2 leaders on it. And the leaders will have icons like diplomacy, logistics, I forget what one of them's like fighting, one of them's there's a couple. There's like 5 different icons, right? And so you basically the number of icons. So like Mon Mothma has like 3 diplomacy. So you want to send her on diplomacy missions, and that'll be important later on. So you place them on the mission cards face down, right? So both players do this. Then you get to the activation phase, and then you go back and forth, and you reveal mission cards, or you place leaders in systems to pull your forces into that system. Okay, and so you reveal a mission card, and it'll say like choose a planet with Imperial troops, and your mission is that you're gonna sabotage it. Right? So you say, okay, send somebody with intelligence. And so you place your leader on the chosen system. And then the opponent has the option of sending one of their reserve leaders, not one on a mission card, but one in their reserve pile, to go to that and oppose that mission. And then what happens is you roll dice based on the number of icons you have of that specific skill. Okay. So like if Mon Mothma has 3 diplomacy, you roll 3 dice, and if the opponent has Palpatine there, they, I believe, roll 3 or 4 dice, right? So you roll dice, and then you calculate your hits and your misses.
You'd think that your successes, he would have more than...
I think he has more. I think he has 4. So there's one side of the die. They're D6s, and they have blanks and hits, and then they have like critical hits, and then they have double lightsabers, which the double lightsabers count as 2 successes, and then each of the other hit icons count as 1 success.
So if you're outnumbered in dice, there's still a chance.
It's absolutely true. My first mission, I was trying to turn Mon Calamari into a rebel influenced planet, a rebel loyal planet, and I sent Mon Mothma, and she had 3 diplomacy, and he sent my opponent sent some low level admiral that had 1 diplomacy, and I rolled all blanks and 1 success, and he rolled 1 success, and in a tie, the person opposing it wins. So I didn't succeed in the mission.
Mon Mothma came running back. Oh no!
So the other thing is, each planet you'll see here has a square, has an empty 1, 2, 3, 4 hex 6, right?
Yeah.
Hexagonal space. That is where your loyalty token goes. So there's 3 kinds of tokens that go there. The Rebel Alliance loyalty token, which implies that the planet is loyal to the Alliance. An Imperial loyal token, which like you'll see, Coruscant automatically has the Imperial icon. So if it's loyal to the Empire, it'll have that token. And then the other side of
I noticed none of them automatically have the Rebel one.
No, and none of them do because you start the game and you like there's a draft process where you select ones.
Although why should I even bother? Because you have the secret place.
Right, the secret place has
your starting area.
So then the Imperial token has a flip side that has a picture of a stormtrooper, which is a subjugate token. And that means that there is a Imperial presence on the planet, but it is still neutral. Right? So they're basically just occupying the planet.
Kind of like in Rogue One.
Like Jeddah.
Yeah.
Right? So and then you can try to make it loyal and so on and so forth. So and you can flip. They can flip back and forth, right? So and then next to that is icons. There's icons, little triangle icons and little circle icons. And those indicate, let me find the picture here. Those indicate, here's a close-up. So these are leaders. These are the leader things, and these are some of the miniatures. So you'll have forces in the systems, and you'll start with a certain number in certain places. You'll have space forces and ground forces, right? So you have, for the rebels, you have a land speeder, a rebel trooper, and an ion cannon. And then the space ones, you've got X-wings, you've got a transport, and you've got a Corellian corvette. The Imperials, they have a Death Star. They have a couple of TIE fighters. They have an assault transport.
Star Destroyer.
They have a Star Destroyer, and they have a couple of 3 Imperial troops, right? And those are the dice over there. Mm-hmm. Those are the hits and the critical hits, and then the other side will have the double lightsabers. So
the critical hit is like the planet exploding symbol.
Yeah.
I like that.
So here's some other icons, and you'll see the subjugate token there. Okay. And you'll see the Imperial loyalty token there. Ooh. And there's also AT-ATs, ATSTs. There's some other ships too. There's Y-Wings. But okay, so this is the player board for the Rebel Alliance. So you see here that you have the leaders. These are your reserve leaders. Okay. Right. So if you have set leaders on missions, they'll be on the cards off to the right. And then these are your reserve ones. So these are the ones that, let's say you want to move forces from one system to another. You would place a leader in the system you want them, an adjacent system that you want them to come into, and then you can move any number of forces into that system from adjacent systems. Okay? And then that leader is committed to that system for the end of the round. So if the opponent decides to play a mission in that system, you already have somebody there that can oppose it. Okay. As long as they have,
and vice versa.
Exactly. So, or if somebody chooses a planet to do a mission at, and you don't have a leader there, you have the option of moving one of your leaders from the reserve pool to that planet to oppose it. Now, the icons next to the planet correspond to these icons here. And what this is during the build phase, any planet that's loyal to you, you will gain the one of the ships or forces indicated by the icon.
Okay.
So if you have a blue triangle, you can choose one of these. You can choose an X-Wing, a Y-Wing, or a transport.
Ooh.
If you have a blue circle, you can choose a Corellian Corvette. And if you have a blue square, you can choose a Mon Calamari cruiser.
Ooh.
If you have an orange triangle, it's a Rebel trooper. If it's an orange circle, it's a land speeder. If it's an orange square, it's a shield generator, which cannot move. And if it's an orange square, you could also choose an ion cannon. Now you'll also notice these little numbers here. So these numbers here indicate how many dice you roll when you're attacking with them, and the number on the right here is how much health they have. So for instance, the X-Wing can attack with 1 black die and takes 1 black health. The Y-Wing attacks with 1 red die and takes 1 black health, and these are red health. So when you're rolling dice, you would add up all of your forces. You do space battle first, then ground battle. So you would add up all of your forces. If I had 2 X-Wings and a Y-Wing, I would roll 2 black dice and 1 red die. I would roll them. And then if you get a normal hit on a black die, you can use it to do damage to any ship with a black health. If you do a normal damage with red, you do damage to a red health. And if you do a critical hit on either die, it can count as either color.
That's nice.
So that's how you do. And once a force, once a troop or a ship takes equal amount of damage to its health, it is destroyed. If it has not fired that round, it has the opportunity to fire, and then it's destroyed. So if I'm the initiating attacker and I destroy one of your ships, that ship is going to get to counterattack before it's destroyed. Okay? So now, what'll happen is during the build phase, by one of these icons over here at the end of the round, you do the build phase. You look at your loyal systems, you look at the icons, and then you build those ships. Now, there's little numbers here off to the left of the title of the system, and that corresponds to the numbers over here on the right.
Okay.
So that indicates where those forces that you're building are going to end up on the build track. Okay? And then at the end of the round, everything moves up 1. So if there's anything in the 3, it goes to 2. If there's anything in the 2, it goes to 1. If there's anything in the 1, it's deployed.
Nice.
And then you can put those forces anywhere. Even if, so let's say during the build phase, you build a ship and it goes into 1. The next part of that phase, anything in the 1 is deployed. Okay? So, and you can put a maximum of 2 forces into a system, ground or space, and then you add them to there, and then you move on to the next round. Then all of your leaders come back to your reserve pool, and then you start the round over again. So what's really great about this game is that there's that element of trying to find the secret base. Oh, and I should say, so the win conditions are, as I mentioned, if the rebel counter is moved up through objectives that you complete
And meets the time counter.
the rebel alliance is won. The objectives, I should say, are things like if it, like the card says, if a Star Destroyer has been destroyed during this battle, you play this card and the counter moves up 1. If you've converted a planet from Imperial loyalty to Rebel loyalty this turn, play this and you move it up 2 counters. So it's something like that.
Okay.
Also, I should mention the other phase besides build is recruit. So you have another recruitment deck where you draw cards. You draw 2 cards, and on them will be pictures of characters like Han Solo, Luke Skywalker, or Boba Fett, Jabba the Hutt. That you can choose one character from both of those cards. You choose one card, and the other one goes on the bottom of the deck. If there's any text, you resolve that text, and then you recruit your leader and put him in your reserve pool. So you can do more missions, you can ramp up and do more missions, and they can oppose more of the opponent's missions and so forth.
I was going to say, it's like you really want to be like, yes, I can oppose you.
Yeah.
Luke is over here.
The Imperials, instead of objectives, they have projects. Things like build a Death Star. Things like
the Star Destroyer.
Ignition. Yeah, build the I forget what class it is, but the build the Superstar Destroyer. And or things like ignition protocol to fire the Death Star and destroy a planet. And you can do that. You can destroy systems. The Death Star can destroy systems in this game, right?
It sounds terrifying if we get a Force Awakens expansion. With their new weapon.
Yeah, there's one system that moves around.
Yeah.
So the win condition for the Imperials are you either destroy the Rebel base. Oh, I should mention there's another win condition for the Rebels. If you destroy 2 Death Stars, you win.
Wow.
Just like the original trilogy, because they destroyed.
Talk about you said it's like you play the whole trilogy.
It really is. It is so much fun, and it is great strategy, and you have a good time. So
I'm sure I would have a good time. But the idea of guys, it's gonna be so much fun. Come over, I'll make dinner. It's gonna be a 4 or 5 hour game.
Mm-hmm.
It's gonna be because this is how we had to set up Fury of Dracula, by the way.
Yeah.
It's like this is gonna be a while. I'll cook. I can't. You're making me kind of, sort of, creepily look forward to this.
It's a lot of fun.
Especially because 4 people can play.
4 people can play. So you would flip this mat over, and there's a leader pool for generals and a leader pool for admirals.
Nice.
And see the colors, the blue and the orange.
Mm-hmm.
So if they're blue, they're space characters, and if they're orange, they're ground characters. So one player would control the space characters, and one player would control the ground characters.
And when you're playing 1-1, they have both depending on where you need them.
Yep.
Okay.
So this is the 1-player game mat.
Right. So
the 2-player game mat is the same, except there's another leader pool on this side, and it's one color, and this one's one color. So then what happens is that one player decides where the space character leaders go on missions, where when ships are constructed, they choose which spaceships to be built, and then same thing with the ground. The ground person would choose which ground units would be built, and they send the ground leaders on missions and oppose ground leaders and so on.
Are there missions where you need to make sure that you're working together?
I don't know if that's specific. The missions are really the only thing about that matters in the missions is the icons here. Mm-hmm. It's like the intelligence, diplomacy, aggression, whatever. And then these numbers here indicate that they are like strategic planners. So like if you wanted to move units from an adjacent system, they have to have numbers. So like Mon Mothma doesn't have those numbers.
Right.
So you can't use her to activate a system to pull forces in.
But you could use
Dodonna or Leia.
Okay.
Or Riken.
I couldn't. You know what? I had to lean forward just to make out who it was, much less try to read that name.
I just happen to know because I played the Rebel Forces.
It's
but,
okay. You're a Star lover. You really are. Star Trek, Star Wars. You're there.
Yeah. Oh well. I think I'm at some point I'm going to talk about Star Trek Ascendancy, which is a 4-hour Star Trek game, 5-hour Star Trek game.
A 5-hour game.
5-hour game. So this game is so much fun. I highly recommend it. It seems daunting at first, but once you sit down and you actually go through a round, you pick it up very quickly. It's literally like you have a hand of mission cards. You plan your missions. You set your leaders. You then take turns activating missions, activating leaders or doing missions, and then you clean up everything at the end and reset, and then you do it all over again. It's very simple. And what I love about that is like that's not the complexity. The game mechanics are not complex. The complexity comes in the strategy you wanna implement, the sort of like how do I keep the rebel base hidden but continue to build forces there and then move them out somewhere? If you're the rebel player, how do I achieve my objectives to make that counter move forward? What mission should I try to do? So the first thing I wanted to do was I wanted to make Mon Calamari loyal so I could start building one of the Mon Calamari cruisers. Because there's only 2 planets that can build those. And they come out at the number 3, which means it's going to take 2 or 3 more turns before they even get deployed. So you want to get that done early.
Wow.
And because you don't do the build phase at the end of every round, it's even that much more important that you hit it at the right time. So what I love about this is that the complexity and the engagement of this game comes in the actual decision-making process. And that, to me, makes a game like this and a game that lasts 4-6 hours that much more fun and engaging and keeping you into it. Also, the back and forth during the main part of the phase, you're not waiting for the other player. You're doing something, then the player's doing something. Then you're doing something, then the player's doing something. And even when the player decides to do something...
No one wants this game to be friend breaker.
It's not really a friend breaker. And you can have fun. You can have the original trilogy on in the background and have a really good time playing it. So... this is a huge woo for me.
It sounds like one of those plans that we have to follow through in. Put it on the chalkboard, Adam. Put it on the artificial chalkboard.
That we're going to play it? We'll play it.
We should play it.
You want to stream it?
Of course we have to stream it.
We'll stream a game of it.
Because we'll be like, what are we doing? Let's do this. 4 hours.
So again, that is Star Wars Rebellion. It is a bit of an expensive box, but...
You're getting hours and hours and
hours.
It is well
worth the investment. Not only is the contents and the quality of the game high, but the replay value, I feel, is very high because you really can implement different strategies each time you play it. And the thing is that once you start on one strategy in one game, you sort of have to follow through with it to a certain extent. And then you're going to have to replay it again to do a different strategy. And to play 4 players... then you get to focus on one part. You get to discuss strategy with another person. I mean, just the possibilities are endless. And I was very surprised that a game that was locked into the original trilogy had this much variety and versatility. But it's well worth it.
Which is, there's a lot happening in the original trilogy.
There is. There's a lot. And what I love is the whole mission mechanic and everything really feels like Star Trek, because throughout the entire original trilogy, that's all they're doing is everybody's going on a mission at some point, even if it's a mission that they decide to do themselves, like Luke leaving Dagobah and going to not Mos Eisley, going to Cloud City, going to find his friends. That's a mission that he decides to go on. It just really fits, and then having somebody there to oppose it, it's just really.
I just love how many things Luke did just because it just feels like it's the right thing to do, and it's like, no, Luke, no, you got to lose your arm, boy. Oh, By the way, right? How did Cloud City go? Right? How did that go? Right? Horrifying, filled with revelations, and you didn't save no one. In fact, your sister said, "Oh, the Force is telling me something. Go save Luke. He's fallen out of Cloud City."
I like to think of it as a family reunion.
Really? Because Vader's sitting at the head of Thanksgiving table. Only there is no Thanksgiving. This is a galaxy far, far away, a long time ago.
Yep. Anyway, great game.
It's Empire's Giving.
Yeah,
Empire's
Giving. So we'll get this game on the table. We'll get a good playthrough going.
We got Big Woo over here.
Big Woo.
And in a mild, I've seen people play this, but they're deep in the middle of a game, so I don't engage. So I have an interest, but I really want to play the other one now.
What
Assault, I think.
Yeah.
Right.
Is that Assault? Yeah. It's basically like a dungeon crawl game where you're on a mission.
Yeah, it looks so cool.
Yeah. I hear that's a really good one too. So
yeah, it's what
my problem with that is that it's one of those where they're constantly releasing expansions. There's a competitive aspect to it, and I'm sorry. What are you talking about? A game with maps and little figures that's competitive? Yes. I already have one of those. I don't need another one.
Right, but when you own something like this, it could just be fun. HeroClix, rarely is it, let's just hang out and let's... You know what? You buy it once and then it's yours. You can play whatever you want.
No, then you have to continue to buy the expansions.
You don't. Because...
I want... And then I got to paint the miniatures? I'm sorry. Look. There's a reason I play HeroClix. It's because they're pre-painted miniatures. If I wanted to paint miniatures, I'd go to an art class. If I wanted to play a game, I'll buy HeroClix.
By the way, we will be holding a miniature painting here.
Every month.
Every month. Because some people enjoy that. Right, Antonio?
I'm going to have to paint over my black and blues.
There we go. You're doing fine. Stop complaining.
Thanks for showing my pasty. We just blinded half of our audience.
No, it's okay. The green screen protected them.
All right. On that note, Thank you for watching Read, Watch, Play. It's been a blast. We'll get this on the table and see it again. Cliff will play it. Until next time, I'm your host, Tony Cox.
I'm Clifford Parmenter. Tweet us. Let us know what you enjoyed, what you didn't enjoy. Come find us.
If you're going to New York Comic Con, let us know.
Absolutely, let us know if you're going to New York Comic Con.
We'll let you know when and where. Maybe we'll try to do a meetup or something with some of you guys.
And most importantly, if you're going to tell us you're going to be there, I want to know, like, what are you looking forward to most?
Yes. Are there any creators or content providers that you're really excited to meet, or to buy their merchandise, or to buy special edition comics, or whatever? Let us know. We want to know what you guys are looking forward to for New York Comic Con. And maybe we got something special in store for you. So let us know that, and we'll see you next time.